Hey guys, DB right here, and today I am starting the first ever crossover What If with this channel. Still Dragon Ball themed, but of course we're going to throw in a little something else to basically just have fun with. Basically, I know you guys have been requesting me to do some crossover What Ifs, but I'm going to start with one that I came up with myself. So, here it goes. What if Sailor Moon was in Dragon Ball Z? What if somehow, some way, she and her band of Sailor Guardians ended up in the Dragon Ball Z universe? Well, let's find out how that would happen exactly. Our story starts off at the beginning of the finale of Season 3 of the classic Sailor Moon anime. The one from the 90s. They're having their... Sailor Moon has just transformed into Super Sailor Moon and is battling side by side with Sailor Saturn in order to vanquish Pharoah, the leader of the Death Busters, the antagonist from Season 3. And much like in the anime, it pretty much goes just like it does in the original, except Pharoah pulled off one last trick. Before being vanquished completely, he used the last of its power to open up a rift between time and space. Sailor Moon, Sailor Saturn, and the rest of the Sailor Guardians were all sucked into it and have awakened in this strange world. It is Earth. Their powers are indeed responding, but it's somehow not their Earth. It's looks to be, I don't know how you would describe it. Like, friendlier? Happier? Childish? There are beastmen running around and things like that. Now, just to be clear, we're at the beginning of Z here. So right now, Raditz has had his little reunion with Goku, and he and Piccolo are just about to chase Raditz down and have their showdown with Raditz. The Sailor Guardians quickly pick up on this energy, the energy that Raditz is letting out, and it's definitely an evil energy. Not as evil as, Pharoah energy, the monster they were just facing, but perhaps someone from the Death Busters had managed to follow them to this strange place. So, they decide they're going to go off and investigate. And, Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune, they pretty much have no choice but to follow along as well, because they're not going to get any answers, just, at this point running off on their own, doing whatever. Perhaps by beating this enemy, they'll be able to find their way back home. Not likely, I mean, this is Raditz we're talking about. And, well, thanks to the abilities of Sailor Teleport, they arrive just a little distance away from Raditz, Goku and Piccolo, who are in the middle of their fight, and they decide to observe what's going on here. That dark energy is coming from that big one with the tail. I don't think he's a Death Buster, though, but he's definitely cruel. At this point, Raditz has Goku on the ground and he's stomping away at him. And, well, this is where, basically where Gohan's about to jump out of the space pod and do some damage to Raditz. And, thanks to Mercury and her visor, she's, pretty much got the full story here. There's a little kid trapped in the space pod, and that basically Goku and Piccolo are here to retrieve the kid. So they decide they're going to get involved, but they will pick their moment. Of course, no one was expecting this. Gohan jumping out of the space pod, destroying Raditz's space pod, and flying into him and causing a lot of damage to Raditz in the process. Raditz, who hasn't seemed to really pick up on the fact that the Sailor Guardians are even there at this point. Just because, you know, the Sailor Guardians aren't as experienced with ki as I suppose the Warriors of Dragon Ball Z are. Whether or not their powers work on a ki principle like Dragon Ball Z, which I don't think they do, I think it's more elements. But I suppose there'd probably be some ki involved with them using their abilities and such. I mean, they do get tired after they use them after all. So, yeah. But they're not using their powers at the moment, so yeah, the scouter wouldn't detect them. But Mercury has determined that it's thanks to that scouter that Raditz is able to pick up where Piccolo and Goku are during the battle. So, this is when she decides to basically spring into action. Bubble spray! Causing a invisible mist, where then Sailor Venus fires her Venus, love me chain, knocking the scouter out of Raditz's head and face. So now Raditz can't tell where anyone is, and suddenly Raditz is taking these different attacks from all over the place, and he's not picking up where they're coming from, and Goku and Piccolo are as a loss, but Piccolo is, you know, just continuing his concentration, powering up the second special beam cannon. I don't know who's meddling in my affairs, but whatever works. I need the time to charge my energy. Hopefully they can buy us a little more time, whoever they are. And, with the smoke's clear and Raditz is, barely on his knee, barely able to stand, much less basically defend himself, the Sailor Guardians burst into action and we get their whole speech. We are the pretty Guardians who fight for justice, and in the name of the moon, we'll punish you. Come on, you gotta have the catchphrases, come on, that's half the fun. And everyone is basically ready for battle, and Goku and Piccolo, they're just a loss. And Raditz is sort of thinking they kind of remind him of the Ginyu Force with those poses. You're telling me I'm getting my butt whooped by a bunch of girls? Nappa and Vegeta are finding this hilarious, by the way, listening in on the scouter. It may have been knocked from Raditz's head, but still close enough they can still hear what's going on. And, no, me, the mighty Raditz, will not allow this. He, attempts to, charge at the Sailor Guardians, who are able to get out of his way, and at least for the time being, until Raditz decides to, basically flick them all away with a flick of his energy, or what's left of it. And they're supposedly, you know, unconscious for the moment. They're hurt. They're reeling. I mean, these are the Sailor Guardians after all. They're not quite as durable as Z-Warriors, at least not yet. At least not yet. And then Raditz turns his attention to little Gohan, who he has not forgotten, gave him that really big ding earlier. What are you doing? I'm going to give your son a death worthy of a Saiyan. And well, this is where Goku brings him into the full Nelson like he does in the original. And the special beam cannon is fired, taking out both Raditz and Goku. The Sailor Guardian surprised at Piccolo's actions. How could you do that? How could you do that to your friend? Goku chose to make himself the sacrifice. And when did I ever say we were friends? I just needed him to get this whelp off my planet. And, besides, Goku will be back soon. We have on this planet something called Dragon Balls. They can grant any wish you want, including bringing back the dead. Raditz is then laughing. You see, Green Man, it'll be I who has the last laugh. Everything that's happened here today has been transmitted to my Saiyan colleagues. They will come. They will find the Dragon Balls. And I will watch as they tear you all apart. Piccolo finishing off Raditz like he does in the original. And then we've got Bulma, Krillin, and Roshi arriving on the scene. They say their goodbyes to Goku like in the original as he passes out. And this is where Piccolo basically decides, I'm taking that kid. He displayed a power which showed that he might be the strongest one on our planet. And when the Saiyans get here, I will make sure he's ready. And well, as for Usagi and the others, Usagi's a bit depressed. He's like, oh great, another battle. Right after she only just had a battle with Pharaoh 90. Which I guess kind of does explain why they were so weakened by Raditz pretty easily. You know, they just had a big battle and they just ran off and had another big battle against Raditz. And now there are Saiyans on the way in a year. Hey, at least they got a year, right? And in case you were wondering, no, Tuxedo Mask was not sucked into the vortex. There's no Tuxedo Mask here, it's just the Sailor Guardians. Sailor Saturn has not been reformed into a baby yet. Thanks to her being pulled into this dimension, that hasn't yet occurred. More than likely happen once they return to their Earth, but until then, Sailor Saturn is still Sailor Saturn. And, well, with Piccolo pretty much running off with Gohan, pretty much, Roshi decides to take the, young girls in. Get them up to speed, as it were. So yes, do have fun imagining the Sailor Guardians, de-transformed, running around making milk deliveries and construction work, and all the training that Roshi put Goku and Krillin at the beginning of Dragon Ball. And of course, all the fun Roshi's going to have with all those keeping him company. Of course, this creeps the girls out significantly, but Bulma has made it clear, oh no you don't, old man. I'm going to be keeping an eye on you the entire time. We're going to need everyone's help. We're going to deal with these Saiyans. I will not have you muck up this opportunity with your ridiculous habits. Blame an old man for trying to have some fun. You're as bad as the turtle. And, well, before all that pretty much begins, Krillin is given the task of telling Chi-Chi what's happened to Goku, much like in the original, while Bulma fixes up the scouter and goes off looking for the other Z-Warriors. And pretty much gather them up to speed. And, well, Goku's running off to Snake Way, much like he does in the original, and, the Sailor Guardians have begun their grueling conditioning training under the watchful eyes of Master Roshi, who actually is taking this job seriously, after sensing the potential the Sailor Guardians have. They clearly wield magic and power and energy of some sort, but more than that, it's their overall potential, which, with a bit of conditioning training and ki control, this could make their transformation significantly more powerful in the days to come. And well, everyone sort of getting into it, except Usagi, who, I just want to go home to my mama room. Yeah, as we know, it's not Sailor Moon if Usagi doesn't cry at least once every episode. But I would say in the end they do begin getting used to it. Except Usagi is a bit upset that they're still doing schoolwork. You know, Roshi always has Goku and Krillin hit the books. Army's into it, but yeah. The rest, not so much. And so, I think, at least for the time being, this is where we'll leave things for part 1. Don't worry, we will be back with a part 2. In fact, I already know what's going to happen in part 2. So, yeah, we'll be back for that. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this first edition. So next, we continue into the Saiyan arc with part 2.